Legacy builders, I want to introduce you to someone who literally breaks the mold of traditional financial advice. Now, our next guest comes from a fourth generation coal mining family from rural Utah. His great grandfather literally fled Italy in 1913 to escape government corruption, seeking the American dream. But instead of following the family path into the coal mines, he became what Robert Kiyosaki calls a financial genius, truly a financial genius. This is someone who just a few short years ago in his career in May of 2000 had the audacity to tell all of his clients to get out of the market while every other financial advisor was telling people to buy the dip. The result? His clients saw 44 and 41% positive returns while the market crashed. Garrett Gunderson is the founder and the CEO of The Wealth Factory, a New York Times bestselling author and the guy who teaches the Rockefeller method of wealth building. Own nothing and control everything to everyday entrepreneurs, not just billionaires. His philosophy is so controversial that he openly says, listen, if you want to stay poor or middle class, then listen to Suze Orman or Dave Ramsey. If you want to get financial education of the rich, listen to Garrett Gunderson. That's what Robert Kiyosaki said about it, Garrett. He's helped thousands of entrepreneurs plug their financial leaks, become their own banks, and build generational wealth using the same tactics and strategies that companies like GE, Walmart, and Chase use internally. Legacy builders, please join me in welcoming financial strategist, New York Times bestselling author, and wealth philosopher, Garrett Gunderson. All right, well, let's get this party started. Great
What's
to have
up,
you
man?
at the studio, man.
It's good to be here.
Super excited to dive in. All right, so let's go. So let's start with this. You come from a fourth generation coal mining family in rural Utah, right?
Yep.
With your grandfather leaving Italy in 1913 to escape government corruption. How did that blue collar background shape your financial genius perspective that's now endorsed by people like Robert Kiyosaki?
Well, initially I had to heal from that because it was like miserly. It was like, hold on to everything that you can, and you don't know if you're going to have enough. And so there was kind of like a scarcity mindset because of my great grandfather being separated from his wife for 7 years because he couldn't provide, and he was in America while she was in Italy. Mm-hmm. And so it's like folklore that just permeates, and it's like, oh man, you never know. And like, they're just saving and saving and saving. Mm-hmm. And I just, I started to research, I started to learn, I started to like be around people that were wealthier. Mm-hmm. I was inquisitive, curious. And when you're young, you can just meet with pretty amazing people if you're curious.
For sure.
And so I just started to figure out like, wait, there's this woman, Nancy, and she was like, I got this award for insurance sales back in the day, like $1 Million Round Table. And she's like, oh, I can't wait till you get to the top of the table. You're going to see they think about money differently. I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, let me ask you some questions. And I'm like answering these questions from scarcity. And she's like, I wonder what it's like living in the financial prison you built for your wife. And it's like, it hit me like I was just like in this like millionaire next door, miserly, cut back, reduce, and no one shrinks away to wealth. So like that was the beginning for me. And I just had a couple partners that were very abundant. Like I was always saving, they were always experiencing. I was always cutting back, they were always growing. And so they like brought me along.
How'd you break that? Because that's, most of us are not wired for abundance, right? Or financial freedom. Like we're
at
not
least indoctrinated against it, right?
Right. So what was your path? I know mine, like I realized, I read The Power of Subconscious Mind, that basically I was programmed by the school system, by the media, by my teachers, by my school, by my friend. Like I was wired to lose. What was your process of going about rewiring?
I mean, I was young and I joined Strategic Coach and I went through Landmark and and I went to like these other academies and Genius Network. And so I'm around these people that are operating completely differently. And I'm fascinated by it. I'm asking questions about it. I'm just like researching. I was reading heavily. I was listening to audios. I was just doing anything I could because I knew that what I was thinking wasn't right.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know the answer.
Got it. So you just went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to everything and anything just to learn.
That was similar to me. That's what I did. I just because Tony Robbins always talked about how he read 200 books to rewire himself. I was like, well, success leaves clues. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah.
And so I did the exact same thing. Every event, every, mentorship, coaches.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of rewiring.
Well, when I was 21, I met these guys that were like 30 and they thought differently. And so we started hanging out. We started a study group.
Nice.
And we just questioned everything.
Nice.
We're like, hey, everyone says 401ks is the way to go. Like, what if they weren't? What could be wrong with them?
Yeah.
What are people not seeing? We just started to dissect everything. And then
Gotcha.
he was willing to, this guy Les was willing to talk to anyone, anytime, any place, be 500 people in an event. He'd just go up to the microphone, ask questions, challenge the presenter. Like he just kind of led the way, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, and he was the philosophical leader, and we would travel a lot. We'd attend a lot of things. We would get together and like philosophize. So
Nice.
they were just ahead of me, and it brought me along.
So at a young age, you challenged the norm.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Really?
I saw what the norm brought to my family, and it was beyond frugality. It was more miserly.
Yeah.
It didn't lead to feeling prosperous, even though they had a decent amount of cash. And so I knew there had to be a better way.
Yeah.
And I just really treated I was just like, I'm going to just question everything. Not annoying. I'm not going to be a skeptic, but I am going to just be like curious. And so I would like fly in to New York and go to like a home office of a company and just interview everyone they would allow me to interview.
Nice.
You know, and say like, hey, I'm starting with the company. Great. Well, they just, for the whole day, I just meet with people, take notes. I'd find out who the biggest producers were. I'd reach out to them.
And this is when you're selling financial services.
Yeah, and I was still in college at the time.
Yeah.
I did 27, I think it was 26 or 27 straight months of traveling somewhere to learn. I was in school during most of that. I would just leave on a Thursday, come back on a Monday, and just be like, I've got to explore this.
Was there a disconnect between what you were learning in school compared to like what you're learning from these guys you're interviewing?
Personal finance was garbage in school. Corporate finance was really dialed in. And I started thinking, wait, like what corporate finance is talking about, I could apply to personal finance and look at it entirely differently. And then I would take like an economics course that was in direct opposition of what I was learning in personal finance classes. And so like, it was like, I just questioned everything. I became friends with the professors. I started having conversations with them.
Nice.
And like, they enjoyed those conversations because again, I was just curious.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily have the answers. I had like inklings and what I thought might be right. But like those healthy debates were good.
Yeah.
You know, those conversations.
Curiosity is the key to growth, for sure.
Man, yeah, it's like, and as soon as you think you arrived, then you're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Right?
Cool. Okay. Let's talk about the moment. Let's go back to May 2000 when you told all your clients to get out of the market, right? Most rookies in the financial services would have been scared to do that, right?
I was scared.
What gave you the confidence to go against the conventional wisdom? And how did that 44 to 41% positive return strategy change everything for you?
Okay, so my clients in the year 2000, I'd been in the business for like 2 years basically, were like my mom and dad, my grandma and grandpa, parents of my friends. Like I knew all these, they weren't like referrals. They were like people that I saw regularly, that I knew well. And when it was 98 and 99, they thought, man, you're so smart. You're like a financial Einstein, but I wasn't smart. I just was lucky at the timing that I started. Now the year 2000, things start to go down. They're like, what do you want? What should we do? And I was like, that's where I was really like, I'm going to go to everything I can and learn from as many people as I can. Nice. And I remember hearing like a president of a company saying, the market's on sale. I just remember thinking, that's the dumbest thing because they already bought.
Yeah.
So it's being on sale isn't helpful to them. That's just a rhetoric to be, put more money in. Yeah. And so I just started being a pain asking all these questions. So I finally decided, all right, I'm going to go tell these people I don't know what I'm doing. I hated it. I thought I was a badass and I was starting to bleed, right? And I was like, damn. So I just said, hey, you should either move to cash and wait for me, or you should just find a different advisor because I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just getting trained in sales. I have no technical ability. I've never met the fund managers. I was just really honest with them, which meant most of them stayed. And then over the 6 months, I was just researching and I met this guy, Blair, and he's like, hey, there's a strategy that's working really effectively. Just put people in cash. And then if the US market goes up by a certain percentage, move them internationally overnight and then just move them back to cash the next day because it'll follow the trend. And it did like 83% of the time. So we got 41% in 2002. Everybody else was negative double digits. The next year we got 44%. And then the strategy kind of got shut down because a lot of these retirement plans would only let you trade once a month, or they wouldn't post for 24 hours, or there'd be redemption fees. And so it kind of killed the strategy. But it was a beginning to be like, oh, look, here's something that works that no one else was kind of doing. And it was just me asking questions.
Yeah. You went, when everyone was going right, you went left.
Dude, it sucked to tell people I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
It was really painful.
like I'm just a sales guy.
I had to be honest. Like
Yeah.
every training I was going to at the time was all sales.
Yeah.
It was only
Common
sales.
for that industry, for that job that you were in.
And I was like, yeah, I got this internship. And all the internship was I would bring people to the senior people there and they would sell them stuff.
Yeah.
And then I would split.
What did the company say about your strategy now? Like, did they know? Were they onto it?
They didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the branch I was in, I didn't tell them about it because they were already telling people I was a fanatic. Because I went and learned from this guy that there's a product in life insurance called Second to Die, and he's like, I went and talked to an actuary. And the actuary's like, we've never paid a second to die claim, meaning someone dies, the chance they die with their spouse is limited.
Right.
So instead of getting a death benefit that comes in tax-free, some of them get a bill and still make the payments.
Oh, wow.
Others, it depends on how the policy is designed. And I was like, oh, so this attorney comes to the office and he's talking about second to die. And I just been educated on it. So I'm like, actually, there's an opportunity cost not having this death benefit come in. And that could be millions of dollars because what would they earn if it came in versus not coming in? You're just thinking wrong. You're thinking this will be a lower premium, but you're not thinking about the benefits.
Yeah.
And we got in an argument. And I was like, well, what if they didn't have insurance at all and they just made enough money that they outperformed and still paid tax and still end up leaving more money behind? Who cares if you pay more tax if you made more money?
Right.
And he was like, you're gonna go to jail for this kind of advice. We got in a huge fight.
Oh, wow.
And I was told I couldn't come to the meetings anymore. I was a kid.
Yeah, you were a kid at the time.
I was a kid, but I was just very aggressive with learning.
Yeah.
And I loved to debate back then.
Yeah.
I hosted my own study group, and we used to bring accountants in to debate me in front of the whole room.
Oh, wow.
And then even our radio show, our biggest like radio programs before podcasts were a thing, I would do live debates.
Nice.
We'd have someone moderate, and then people that disagreed with my philosophy, we would debate back and forth.
That's awesome. So you were primed for that.
Yeah, I was supposed to debate the white coat investor. He backed out. Like that would have been awesome because he was getting really big at the time. Like,
so you're like
miss that kind of stuff.
Apologetics is what it's called in the spirit Christianity.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by that because they just go head to head with like other religions.
Yeah.
And battle.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it's fun to watch.
So,
That's
but
awesome.
I learned a lot from that because the stakes were high. Because if I lost, I would,
Yeah.
I already felt the sting of putting people in investments that I didn't know anything about.
For sure. Yeah. You want to put people on the vehicles.
Right.
That's kind of your job as a financial advisor. Yeah.
I mean, I was 2 years in. Yeah. I was just showing mountain charts. I was just, selling the narrative.
Yep.
Had a roommate that made fun of me because I got the Wall Street Journal thinking that was going to be this like really amazing thing. While I was in college, I got sold the ad remember the ad that was like two people, similar backgrounds.
Yeah.
One person gets a Wall Street Journal. Now they're successful. The other person's a bum. And I bought into that ad, not knowing it was marketing at the time. And inside the Wall Street Journal, there was this thing where monkeys would just throw darts on stocks, and they would see how many monkeys throwing darts would beat fund managers. And it was more than 50%.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Just showing like they don't really know.
They don't really know what they're doing. Yeah.
And my roommate would be like, "Look, I wonder if my dad's money's doing better with the monkeys or with you."
Yeah.
And who knows? Probably the monkeys.
The monkeys probably won.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, you said if you want to stay poor or middle class, listen to Suze Orman or Dave Ramsey, right?
Yep.
If you want to improve yourself and get the financial education of rich, listen to you, right? That's a bold statement.
Kiyosaki said that, not me.
Kiyosaki said that,
like,
not you.
If I said that, I'm like, hey, just so you know, I'm so amazing, and you should just listen to me.
Yeah, not a good thing to say about yourself.
Yeah, Kiyosaki's the one that said it.
So that's a bold statement from Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Break down what the wealthy do differently than most financial advisors won't tell you.
Look, man, the first thing is budgeting is for the broke. Meaning, if you spend more money than you make, you got to go on a budget. It sucks. But the wealthiest people they differentiate their expenses. They don't budget a productive expense. Like you're in marketing.
Yep.
Let's say you put $1 into a campaign and $2 comes out. What's your budget?
As much as humanly possible.
Until that stops producing at that level,
right.
you just keep going, right? And as long as you can handle customer service.
Yep.
So that budgetary mindset is really, and like Suze is the worst because she'll be like, I told you guys to save more money. And then you would be prepared while she's like making, like she had 5% of her portfolio in the stock market, but 95% of her advice is to put money in the stock market.
Right.
So there's like a huge conflict there. And then plus,
For sure.
in 2008, when the FDIC was like tapped out, she was doing commercials saying to trust them. I'm like, dude, the FDIC, we went trillions of dollars beyond what the FDIC could handle when the bank collapse happened. And then she was telling people not to drink coffee. Then she got an endorsement from Starbucks. She's a total sellout.
Total
right?
sellout. Yeah.
Ramsey sticks a little bit more to like the consistency, but he's more do what he does, not what he says.
Yeah.
A dude's producing like $600 million of revenue, running a business, being a media empire.
For sure.
He didn't get wealthy through budgeting.
No.
He got wealthy through teaching budgeting.
100%.
And so the problem with financial planning is it gets you to stop producing more at the expense of saving. So it's like, oh, you got to save a percent of your income. You got to put it into things you don't understand. You got to wait for 30 years for it to bake till it finally pays off. And instead of investing in yourself and investing in things that you know, and instead of enjoying your process along the way, it's this one day, someday BS. And that's the problem I have. And the entire frame of Suze and Dave is how to reduce expenses. But no one shrinks their way to wealth.
Right.
Even if you end up with $1 million, $2 million, $3 million using their plan, you're never going to enjoy the money.
Right.
Because you're taught that expenses are bad and that you should never spend.
Yep.
I read one of Dave's books where it was just Q&A. Like people wrote letters and he answered. And these parents wrote in and they were like, our daughter's been following and listening to you and we can't get her to spend any money. And then another person wrote in, they're like, I'm $2,000 short from adoption. I'd have to put it on a credit card. And he said, don't adopt then. I was like, dude, these are pretty blanket like rules that don't take into consideration humanity.
Right.
You know,
it's
like,
hard. They're hard rules.
It's just so shrinking, reduction, elimination, cut back, scrimp, sacrifice, delay, defer. That just doesn't lead to wealth. Billionaires aren't billionaires because they reduced expenses.
Right. For sure.
I mean,
not at all.
And look, some people don't want the responsibility of investing in themselves or building a team or being an entrepreneur. I get it.
True.
But the reality is they're not going to be, even if they have money, they won't live wealthy.
Right.
Only 32% of millionaires feel wealthy right now.
Right.
Part of it's a million's the new $100,000, right?
For sure.
7 figures is the new 6 figures.
For sure.
Like it's you know, just because of inflation and all that kind of stuff.
100%.
And that's why I think it's just erroneous. Imagine people being taught live 70% off your pre-retirement income in retirement. So with inflation alone, you're going to want more.
Yep.
And with interest rates fluctuating, because you're not in control of the outcome of your income, or if taxes fluctuate, people are in financial bondage to institutions and have no control over their freedom in retirement. So it's just a bad idea to begin with. And it's always about...
Well, that's a system as a whole anyways, right? It's just a system issue.
Well, then people say, oh, they're like Dave gives advice saying people are stupid. So he gives stupid advice.
Right.
Like just pay off your mortgage and fund your retirement plan. Well, guess what? Inflation was double digit alone. Was your friend during that time, because every year inflation lowers what that payment feels like. So a loan's your friend if you're at 2.75% interest and you can earn 5 now and you got that money borrowed that each year just is going down and down and down because of inflation. And yet people are being taught to get rid of that and then put their money in something that is being eroded by inflation. And it's very one-dimensional. Retirement plan, pay off your mortgage. Why do we have to watch Dave beyond that? That's all he says. Why do we have to listen to Suze beyond that? It is lowest common denominator basic advice.
For sure. So what you're saying is don't listen to Dave Ramsey and Suze Orman.
If you're spending more than you make, I guess go listen to him.
Yeah.
And it's going to suck.
It's going to suck. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's talk about the Rockefeller method. So you teach about the Rockefeller philosophy, own nothing, control everything, right? For someone who's watching who has 50 or $500,000, not Rockefeller money, right?
Nope.
How do they actually implement this strategy with trusts and whole life insurance?
It's nice and easy. I was 19 when I started, $50 a month, which is nothing, but at 19, it was something.
True.
And I got a trust set up, just a revocable living trust. It cost me about $2,500 because I wasn't even married. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a lot of assets, but I knew I was going to have that. So I just set up a policy and a trust, and the trust owned the policy. Now, I eventually turned that into a domestic asset protection trust, which is irrevocable, which allows me to own nothing, still control it, because I control the distribution trustee that can give me money. But it's still something that, you know, is away from financial predators.
Now, question about that. Tactical question on that is the trustee, is that someone that's like a financial advisor, or is that someone that's a family, or is that someone that's
distribution
not family?
Trustee is my sister.
Okay.
And if she one day she's like, you pissed me off, I'm not going to give you the money, I can fire her and hire someone new.
Got it.
But it's still arm's length.
Yeah.
So, and that really came about in like 2013, where you could do that here in the United States versus a lot of people are doing asset protection offshore.
Right.
And it's very effective, but it's very expensive and it's very onerous and hard to get to your own money when it's offshore.
Yeah. Now on the whole life insurance policy, what did that look like given that you were like tight on funds?
Yeah, I mean, I was just starting
Your
out.
first
so it's
policy, because
like,
you probably have a bunch of
I
policies.
have
at this point.
27 whole life policies now.
Yeah.
You know, I
But
have
that
my
first one was
wife, my
probably
kids.
not.
Yeah, you
half
just
a
start
million
with
or-
with where you can, and you can
Right.
even buy some term insurance that's convertible with a mutual company, so that even if your health changes, you can still convert that to whole life.
Mm.
And so you can work on your cash flow before you make that conversion. The problem is there's people out there doing like infinite banking.
Mhm.
They don't worry about death benefit. So now people have less death benefit that would actually be part of the legacy plan and would, if something happens to them, would
Right.
replenish, to their heirs, whatever you started with, instead of starting over. I mean, I don't want my family being in financial bondage to a bank.
For sure.
I'd rather them earn interest rather than have to pay interest to the bank, and that interest can come to the family, and then we can have better underwriting guidelines, and we can have different processes to support them. And so, yeah, you just buy more as time goes on, or convert the term into whole life. And I say properly structured, optimally funded. Properly structured is death benefit first. Optimally funded is when you have extra cash, you can design policies for high early cash value or paid up additions that allow you to put extra money in, which makes it more available when other opportunities come. But I think a lot of people use their cash for bad opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, I look at it as my stability, as my, foundational pieces. I only use it for short term because a bank might take longer, or, I can get a really good deal. I bought my cabin. There's 2 other offers on it, but I could pay cash because of my cash value. I bought another piece of land. There was, people that would have wanted it. I was able to close in 5 days, so I use cash for that. But for the most part, I'm focused on the death benefit.
Got it. So you have you write the whole life insurance policy to be high cash value, low death benefit, and you supplement with the death benefit.
Yeah. So I want as much death benefit as I can have.
Yeah.
And I asked the insurance company, how much are you willing to give me?
Okay.
And if I have the funds, I might make that all whole life. If I don't have the funds, I might make it part whole life, part term, and end up with 2 policies.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, if someone wants to build $5 million in assets, that requires time, risk, potentially tax. But if I can buy a death benefit, I control $5 million from day one. Now, most people think, oh, you don't get that till you die. But I'm a little bit creative. And in Rockefeller, we talk about how you use that death benefit to get more access to other capital. So here's a good example. If someone's really successful and charitable, one day they might say, hey, I've got these appreciated assets, real estate, business, stock. I'd love to donate it, which would help me avoid tax. I could do it a charitable trust, get a small tax deduction that I can take that year and up to 5 years later against up to half of my adjusted gross income. When I die, though, the charity's going to keep what's left over. So people will go buy insurance at that point. Well, if I show them how to just save tax or make an allocation decision where the death benefit comes along with cash value that outperforms bonds in the long term, well, now they can do that charitable trust and the full amounts that work for them. And they're the first beneficiary of the trust. So they get income off of that during their lifetime, off the full donation, not off of after tax. They get a partial tax deduction. So they might be 30% better off just because they had an insurance policy, because it allows them to spend more of their other assets, or allows them to be more tax efficient with it. So it's like buying net worth and then focusing on cash flow.
Nice.
So you buy the net worth and then you build cash flow. And that's just a different philosophy.
That's a different philosophy, for sure. I mean, I've never I've never really heard anyone talk about it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. So now when it comes to the whole life insurance policy and the bank, right? Do you operate from the place of you'd rather have your money in the life insurance policy and use that as the bank, or you use both? Like, tell me.
I only use the bank for 30 days or less.
Okay.
I got my multiple business accounts there, but I don't put savings in the bank.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm getting more than
just
30
to manage
days,
income and expenses on a monthly basis.
I just put some money in Bitcoin the other day because I had too much cash in the bank.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just buy some Bitcoin. And then other times I'll just take them to a dump into my cash value because I have flexible paid up additions, which allows me to put extra money in. So if I see more than 30 days in those accounts, I want to move it to cash value or potentially Bitcoin or sometimes gold. I'm not a big gold guy, but it has its place. It's just a better place to store and hedge versus just keeping it at a bank. So banks are used for transactions, not for investments.
Not for storage.
Yeah, not for storage, not for investments. They're just there for their transactional purpose.
Yeah. And technically with inflation, it's losing money, not gaining.
I look at it like an iPhone, right? Like, you might not even have it plugged in, but if you just are letting it sit there eventually that battery starts to wear down.
Mm-hmm.
From 1913 till today, our iPhone battery of money is at 3%.
Mm.
So $1 back then is 3 cents.
That's crazy.
Of purchasing power today.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's what our dollars lost in value. So where Bitcoin is doing the opposite.
Yep.
And cash value is 400 to 800% better than a checking or savings account.
Yep.
And it comes with a death benefit, and I can use it along the way. So it's just a better place to store money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where do you see coming down the pike with regards to the dollar, Bitcoin?
Dude, I think the most compelling commercial, have you seen that Coinbase commercial that talks about if each Bitcoin was a quarter, it would fill up like one barge or something on the ocean. And that if we just put dollar bills that are printed every day,
Yeah.
it fills up like 27 or something.
Yeah.
That's an argument for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Finite supply, deflationary, decentralized instead of a central banking system. We don't know how much money's in it. We don't know what they're doing with quantitative easing to put money in it. We don't know how many transactions are happening there. It's all closed door. It's like a CRM that it's your database that I can't see. But we have an open ledger with Bitcoin where I don't know who's doing the transaction, but it's all being validated through really complex math to show that there's a supply there and how much is moved on the block. So there's transparency. Plus, I can have seed phrases in my head and go anywhere and take my money. Like back in the day, people held gold in case something went wrong.
Right.
But if they had to flee, someone's stealing that gold from them.
For sure.
So there's a lot of argument for Bitcoin. And I mean, it's the highest producing asset since it came out.
How do you look at investing in it in the grand scheme of investing?
I think that people have to figure out what it is. Like if they don't know what it is, they shouldn't invest in it because they'll end up selling early or they'll end up feeling bad when it goes down or they're going to, get into a lot of fear and greed, which is going to be really manipulative for them. So they have to understand what it is and study it.
Yeah.
The people I know that have crushed it studied it for a long time before they bought it and they held on to it when things were volatile.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, they're different. Like look at what Michael Saylor's doing. He's borrowing against company stock at like 1.25% and just buying hordes of Bitcoin.
Sure.
And when it got low for a while, people were nervous for him, but he stuck with it and now it's on the rise. So it's just, it's a store of value. And if you don't know what it is, it's going to create stress and fear for you. If you do, it might be a really good store of value, but you probably need $2 in Bitcoin for every dollar you need in cash value because it's going to go up and down.
Right.
And where cash value is going to be a lot more stable.
Now, from your investing perspective, like, do you look at it from the perspective of like 5% I put into the Bitcoin or like, you know what I mean? Like beyond the stuff you invest in outside your business, real estate?
I'm, when I look at how much Bitcoin I have, it's like probably around 5% of what my net worth is. I'd rather be at 20.
Got it.
But I was stupid and did Ethereum and some shit coins there early on and, like just wasted time. Like most of crypto won't exist in the future. It's just a story that doesn't exist.
Right.
It's just a bunch of meme coins. It's a bunch of things that like they're underdeveloped and overhyped and they're not regulated.
That's part of the problem at the moment.
But Bitcoin, I mean, it's got the best chance.
It's got the biggest market cap. So,
and it's actually decentralized and deflation. It's got, it could take the place of gold because gold, certain countries have better access to gold than others. Other countries have money to mine gold where other countries don't. Like, yes, it can come from any continent where people are actually living, but Bitcoin is just a revolution from a technology that it basically holds all the same properties as gold plus 2 more. And so because it's got these extra, properties where I don't have to have like a receipt in order to like get it and someone else is storing it for me. I could just put it on a wallet. Like gold, you either physically, have it and it's seen. I mean, there's a lot to it. And, there's equal opportunity for everybody to get to Bitcoin more so than gold. And it's easier to divide up to a Satoshi, which is a little fraction versus if I have a gold bar, what am I going to do? Do I shave it? Like, how do, we know it's real? Like there's just, I think there's a lot of advantage to it, even though there's people that go like, oh, it's just like imaginary. I'm like, so is money. Money, we just made this shit up. We're like, oh, this is money. And people all agreed, okay, we'll give it value. Well, guess what? People that are against Bitcoin are making the same argument that makes money not that valuable. I'm like, listen to what you're saying.
Yeah. Side tangent.
Yeah.
Do you think the money's in Fort Knox?
Or I don't know, man. That'll be the gold in Fort Knox?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, right?
Right.
How about you?
At this point, seeing what's going on with the government, I wouldn't be surprised if it was empty.
You know how Social Security works, right? Like they say that there's money in Social Security,
right? But
the second money goes in Social Security, the government borrows it,
right?
And they spend it. So it's an IOU.
Yep.
Makes me think of the show Dumb and Dumber. Do you remember Dumb and Dumber?
Yep. Oh, for
Remember
sure.
when like they find out there's cash in there and they spend it and they just write IOUs?
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber, they're more likely to take care of those IOUs than the government
For
is
sure.
theirs, right?
For sure.
And I feel like they're equal caliber in some ways.
Equal caliber for
Right.
sure.
so it's like, oh, great, look at these IOUs. They mean nothing.
They mean nothing. Yeah.
And that's the thing with Social Security. They're just automatically stripping it out the second it gets in there. It's like, that's crazy.
For sure. Okay.
So that makes me believe they probably
It's
taken
probably
it.
not.
We borrowed it. There's
Yeah.
an IOU for the gold in Fort Knox.
Yeah.
It's like, this is different than
We're
gold.
still waiting for the live stream of Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Still waiting.
There's a reason it
Patiently
hasn't
waiting.
happened. Right?
Yeah. Like they talked about it. It's like, okay, let's see the footage.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking forward to that.
And now that Stanley Kubrick said they can't fake it. Like, you know how there's like there's a theory that the moon landing is not real because
sure.
Stanley Kubrick filmed stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they could fake Fort Knox.
True.
They could just put
With AI at
paint
this
stuff
point.
with gold or whatever. Or
Yeah.
images, who knows?
That's true. That's true. If they wanted to fake it, they could fake it for sure at
Yeah.
this point. It's easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So Vanderbilt versus Rockefeller lessons.
Yeah.
The Vanderbilts had more money than the US Treasury at one time, right?
True.
But 54 years later, the first Vanderbilt died broke. Meanwhile, the Rockefellers are still wealthy 6th generation later. What's the critical difference that entrepreneurs need to understand here with this?
So there's really 5 components, 2 at the core. One is like the Rockefellers used insurance and trust so that if there was losses in the family or estate taxes were higher, they had a way to perpetuate that. So every Rockefeller has an insurance plan, and then every time they die, it replenishes the trust. The Vanderbilts didn't do that.
Oh, interesting.
The second thing is they have a trust. The Vanderbilts didn't. So basically, it was left to like, it just left up the people to make choices and decisions, and the kids were spending the money, not doing something about it. The trust spelled everything out that you can control from the grave, kind of what the intentions are.
Okay.
And then the Rockefellers really did like, they have a family office. They were wealthy enough that they hired a financial team to work just for them.
Yeah.
And so that had continuity after they died to pass on and then bring new people into the family office to preserve, protect, and perpetuate the wealth.
Sure.
And then they did family retreats. They got together every quarter. Like, what do we stand for? What are we learning? Like, you don't just get money because you're part of the family. What are you going to do to be productive? We'll invest in you. And then a family constitution, which is having your own ideals and philosophies spelled out as a way to create a meritocracy in the trust. So it's based upon purpose and production, not just based upon entitlement because you have the name. So it's like a heritage more than an inheritance. And it's more about opportunity than it is just cash. And so that family constitution begins like the trust and like the words of the individual. Like there's this book, the 37 letters or 38 letters to Rockefeller, is like from John D to his son. And like that's capturing the philosophies and putting them forward for generations. That's what you do with the family constitution, like signposts that keep people from going off the rails.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the Vanderbilts basically, they were like the lottery winner.
He invested in his oldest son.
Yeah.
And when Cornelius left him money, he doubled it over 9 years, and then he died. And then it went down every day since then. And 54 years later, like you said, the first Vanderbilt died broke. They owned 10 mansions in Manhattan. They owned the Breakers in Rhode Island. They don't own any of that. They own the Biltmore Estates in the Carolinas. That's gone. Like they just became wealthy socialites that knew how to spend money, but they didn't know how to grow it.
Yeah. It's interesting. They were about the same time. One went down the life insurance policy route, the trust route, the legacy route from their values perspective. The other ones didn't.
Yeah, and I think the Vanderbilts probably had more money as a percentage of GDP.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is insane.
so
Cool. Okay. The three capital types. You talk about mental capital, you talk about relationship capital and financial capital. The financial being just the byproduct. For the legacy builders watching today, how do they audit and maximize their mental and relationship capital right now?
yeah, like let's start with relationship capital. You can just create 3 categories: subtractive, additive, and multiplier. Right? So you have a relationship that subtracts from you. They're negative. They only complain. They talk shit behind your back. They, you know, all that kind of stuff. They're subtracting from your life. It's a debt relationship.
Yeah.
Additive relationships, people that you feel good around, that maybe they're nice to you, maybe they do stuff, you know, and you can help them. And there's like a give and take. But then multipliers are the ones that are like the catalysts and the connectors and the visionaries and the inspiring people. And what you do is you start investing more of your time with the catalyst and multiplier and less time with the subtractive relationship.
Nice. Yeah.
Don't try to save the subtractive ones. I get friendly with them. Friendly means I only answer their questions. I never share my vision. I politely say no to every single invitation, and I just invest the least amount of time with them. They don't know me at all.
Yeah.
Even if I had a relationship with them in the past, I'm just like, I'm nice, but I don't try to change them. I don't try to bring them to my side.
Now, what do you say to people that are like, I've got the subtractors and they're in my family?
Yeah,
'Cause
I've
that's
got that in my family.
Yeah, for sure.
I literally sent a letter to one of them. I was like, we're never doing business ever because I always lose in those business dealings, but we can be family.
Right.
And I just drew the boundaries and lines.
Yeah.
So it sucked.
So you just had to have the hard conversation.
Yeah, we had 3 individual one-on-one conversations. They didn't go the way I wanted because later he's like, let's collaborate. And I was like, you know what? Let's not collaborate. Let's just be family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just drawing the line. I think first what I took from that is you need to take inventory. Who are the subtractors? Who are the addition, the people that add to your life, and then who are the multipliers?
Yeah, and then the mental capital is just what ideas are serving you and what ones sabotage you. Where do you have fear, doubt, and worry? Where do you have skills you'd like to develop? Like what systems and methodologies do you currently have? Like you literally list those things out, and then you now know where to invest to build more mental capital. Who do you know that knows those answers? Like right now, I'm looking at being better on video. I'm looking at building a media brand, and it's like that's new skills. So I've been hiring people. I've been investing in that. That's part of the process. I wasn't born a great writer. I wasn't born a great speaker. Those were skills. I said, who are the mentors I can have? Who are the coaches that tell me precisely what to do? What are the systems that can reinforce it? Like AI is super helpful there. And where's accountability? I pay attention to what I pay for. So I just look at where I need to develop that mental capital, and I go all in.
Yeah. And you weren't great at comedy, but you got great, right?
I mean, I was okay. I mean, according to my wife, I wasn't as funny as I thought I was. She's like, but she said I was kind of funny one day. Yeah. And that's all it took. Just that much encouragement.
So did you hire like a comedy coach and like what that look like?
You know, Kiyosaki, he was speaking at his event, and he was just like, oh, our next speaker's hilarious. So I told some jokes, the crowd laughed. So I called my buddy Marcus, who was runner-up on Last Comic Standing. I was like, hey, dude, can you be at my office tomorrow? Because I want to do an open mic and I have some ideas I want to flush out with you. And so we worked on those ideas together. Like he's like, that's almost there, and that's not quite funny, and what about this? And so we spent 2 hours, and then I did a 4-minute set, and it was really good because I had that co-creator. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, if you don't have money, AI is one of the best co-creators. If you do have money, you can just I sent someone to Carrie, who then got introduced to you and now hired you. And, he's tapping in all that mental capital in those areas that he did. And it's like, I'm going to watch that growth.
For sure. That's good advice. Cool. Okay. Tax optimization secrets. You mentioned people can safely and legally save more in taxes and have more money to do what they want today without hiring more people or increasing their overhead. What are some immediate business strategies that business owners can implement when it comes to tax savings?
Like number one, they need an attorney. Like if you're doing more than $1 million, it should be a tax attorney. Less than $1 million, even a corporate attorney will do. But the 4 areas of classifying income that make the biggest difference is, number one, if we can move active income to passive income for tax purposes. Some that might be an S corp, pay a salary that's reasonable, pay the rest in distributions. Might be that they own their property, they charge the highest rent to them, so now it's 1099 instead of W-2, and that's helpful. Second is, can we turn ordinary income into capital gains? So there's people doing business internationally. They can set up an international sales corp, and all that income comes into America as capital gains. So instead of 37.5, it might be 20%. So that'd be an example. Or if they have a lot of risk, they can set up a captive insurance agency and put that money in pre-tax and then pull it out capital gains if they don't have claim. The third thing is tax-free. I mentioned charitable trusts earlier. There's Section 1202 on a C corp that if a business is around for 5 years and qualifies, they can sell up to $10 million tax-free per partner through Section 1202. Or tax arbitrage. I just literally got a bunch of art. It reminds me I need to call the person because they're going to frame it for me. But I just bought a bunch of art from an art investor, and after I own it for 3 years, I can donate it. And through the donation to museums, I get back $2 for every dollar I spent. That's tax arbitrage. A lot of people spend $1 to save 37 cents. I spend $1 and I get $2 back after displaying art for a couple of years. So these are some of the strategies that are super helpful. And I mean, there's tons of ways to get tax deductions. I want to focus more on how we classify our income, because I think that's the bigger dollars. And a lot of people are starting to hear and watch and see like regular tax deductions, like 280G, where they can rent out their home for up to 14 days and write it off to the business, or 199A, which is a pass-through deduction for a qualified business deduction that if they have employees, it can lower the tax that they have on their own. There's 132J, which is if they have a gym or a pool or, that kind of stuff, they can write off the maintenance if they make it available to their employees. There's just like tons of strategies out there. And most accountants are like, well, you can't do that. I'm like, actually, you can. It's in the tax code. It's right there. You just don't know about it, or you're too lazy to discover it, or I don't know. I don't understand. Like, why wouldn't we want to maximize every potential dollar that could be saved?
Right.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense to me.
Bad
either.
training,
Bad
bad
training.
philosophy, laziness, saying they're conservative, saying they don't
There's
want
a lot
to
of
get
them that
audited.
just don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I've run into
they're busy filing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how tedious
true.
just filings is?
That's true.
You
Yeah.
need a strategist.
They're not looking for ways to save.
Right.
So do you have a strategist and an accountant like that just does the push?
Yeah, so I have like a bookkeeper, which
Yep.
in one of my companies is AI, and others we have an actual bookkeeper that we talk to, and then I've got a tax strategist, and then I've got a tax attorney, and then all of them get on the phone when we brainstorm every single quarter.
Yeah.
Here's where we're at financially. Here's the things that, is there anything else we need to do? Or what other ideas have you come up with? Any new laws? Like I just ask them tons of questions and save
Now,
time.
what's that look like for you? Is that quarterly planning? Is that monthly planning? Like what's that look like?
Every 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah. And then every 3 years, I get a new person on the call to go back and see if we missed anything, because you can't always go back and amend everything, but there are things you can amend.
Yeah.
Like just mistakes would be one.
Yeah.
There are certain credits you can go back and get, but if I didn't pay my kids, I can't go back and get that write off.
Got it. Yeah.
If I didn't rent out my house, I can't go back and get that write off.
Right. Makes sense. So every 90 days you're doing planning, and then every 3 years you're
Looking back.
bringing in another.
Yeah. Different set of
Different
eyes.
eyes.
Fresh. They might see things a little different. I remember brought him in this guy, Jeff, and my tax attorney's like, well, sometimes you just make a lot of money and you just have to pay tax. And Jeff saved us 179 grand by the end of the call. I was like, well, I guess my tax attorney is no longer my attorney.
Yeah.
Jeff's taking over. Yeah, it's great.
For sure. Cool. Okay. Cash flow banking. Explain
Yeah.
cash flow banking in simple terms. How does someone become their own bank with using the same technologies as GE, Walmart, Warren
Yeah.
Buffett, Chase?
So we just made up the term cash flow banking.
Yep.
I didn't even make it up.
Who came from that? Who created
I
that?
think it might have
term?
been Mike Dillard.
Okay.
I think Mike might have made it up.
Okay.
And I just bought the website cashflowbanking.com from him back in the day.
Nice.
And then I sold that because one is I get what we were doing, but I'm not like really in favor of banks. So to reference something that's not a bank, it's an insurance company, which things are completely treated differently as a bank, is problematic.
Yeah.
And, then cash flow has people think, oh, I've got to use the cash in order to, do this. And I'm like, not necessarily. You only use the cash if there's an extraordinary opportunity that you've mitigated the risk on and that you're going to put the money back in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just have a bunch of loans and, what happens if something loses, that you just took this really de-risked asset and put it at risk.
Right.
So I'm admitting in my own way that when I wrote What Would the Rockefellers Do the first time, and I was talking cash flow banking, cash flow insurance, it was just terms that we made up.
Got it.
And the reality is we changed that in the new version to be more accurate.
Okay.
And yeah, GE was using it back in 1947 by recruiting top talent, giving them a pension, but buying an insurance policy on them right when they came to work with them, used the cash value to supplement the pension. And when they died, the money came back to GE tax-free. That's basically the Rockefeller method.
Yep.
Rockefellers are like, we're going to treat everybody as an employee of the Rockefeller family, and we're going to have insurance on them. So when they die, it helps replenish whatever consumption or volatility or things that didn't work out well.
Yeah.
And so it's a policy on everyone in the family. Every time a new person's born, 30 days later, there's a policy that goes on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you look at it now.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. And I mean, I still tap into my cash value, but not often.
Got
Like
it.
I bought my cabin because I was able to get a deal when everybody else was financing. I wasn't financing. I was able to get the cash quickly.
Right.
So it's just like there's a strategic advantage to
Yeah.
that, but then I paid it back.
You pay it back as fast as you can.
Yeah, pretty
Really?
much. Yeah.
That's the way you look at it.
Yep. I'm not really, I'm like, I know people that set up a monthly plan. I just go, oh, we just had a bunch of cash come in, I'll pay it back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, otherwise you still have the interest accruing. So it's
Yeah, I mean, I have got the interest earning in the policy, but I also have the interest I'm paying
Right.
that's collateralized by it.
Right.
So I'm like, might as well save that interest.
For sure.
And, yeah.
for sure. Now, what do you call it now if you don't call it cash flow banking?
Properly structured, optimally funded life insurance or the Rockefeller method.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Which one do you call it more front end when you're marketing? Because like life
Rockefeller
insurance,
method. Rockefeller method. Because it's like in the book, it's even annoying to say properly structured, optimally funded. It's like, damn, it's a lot. It's a
that's a long
mouthful.
domain name.
But it's like most people would probably spell it wrong. Be like, screw this.
For sure.
But yeah, we Rockefeller method.
Yeah, for the Rockefeller. Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah, we
Okay.
have RockefellerMethod.com, and we,
Yeah.
RockefellersBook.com and all that kind of stuff. We can
Yeah.
keep that way.
Yeah. You have to have intrigue. People tend to say, "Oh, I've heard of life insurance. I know what it is,"
Yeah.
and they just ignore it because they think they know what it means, when in reality they just don't know through your lens.
Right. It's like, and look, if you don't understand what it is, it's not that valuable to you. If you understand what it is, it's extraordinarily valuable.
For sure.
It's a tool. Yeah.
For sure. 100%. Yeah. I mean, years ago, I just thought life insurance was the way that everybody
you die.
explained it.
Yeah.
Right. When you die.
Yeah.
I was
How
like,
exciting.
yeah. Exactly. What do I
I'll
want to
do
talk
that
about that
eventually.
for?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Money personas. You've identified hidden money personas that determine financial success and sabotage, right? What are the most common personas that sabotage entrepreneurs, and how do people identify
So the
theirs?
two for entrepreneurs are the striver that plays a game called status. They think they could just work harder to make more, but they inevitably burn out. So there's never enough, right? It's always more.
Yeah.
Then there's the high roller playing the game called opportunity, but they often take too much risk and cut corners, and that leads to short-lived riches. So most entrepreneurs fall into one of those two buckets of the striver or the high roller, unless they follow a formula of like co-creation and collaboration and delegation and more abundance and like grow their team. And then they could be more like a creator, like more like a visionary or a connector, or like more like a artist or an entrepreneur, right? Like that's when they're in, and they define their boundaries and they delegate appropriately, or instead of a high roller, they become a catalyst. They're a mover and shaker. They're a connector. They think and play big and show people ways to win together, and they multiply results where like the striver thinks they could just do everything on their own. And they think that's awesome. They put in a 16-hour day. Look at me. It's like
hustle and grind
this shit out, man. And and then the high roller, like they talk big, like, oh, I just bought a new Ferrari and I'm doing this deal, but they don't know shit about the deal.
Right.
They're just putting people into the deal and getting a percentage of the deal, but they don't know enough about it. Right.
Yeah.
Where a catalyst is actually like knows the people involved in the deal. They've actually like vetted it, and then they bring people to it because they look at like the value that it's producing, not just like. And it's funny because I'll be on the phone sometimes with clients when they come do like a one-on-one at my cabin, and they want me to call someone that's promoting some deal, and I just have to hit like mute sometimes. Like, this is the biggest high roller I've ever talked to. Like they've told me nothing about how the deal works or anything that's substantial or like what the numbers are or if this pro forma is even real or any of that kind of stuff. They're just telling me about how much money they make all the time, and I don't care.
Right.
I just care whether this is a good deal for you, and we need to do due diligence. So you can like see the difference, the nuance between someone that's in their shadow scarcity mindset and someone that's more in a winning co-creation mindset.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, living wealthy versus getting wealthy. There's a difference between living wealthy, right, and getting wealthy. You teach people how they can experience financial freedom right now, even before becoming financially independent. What does that look like on the day-to-day?
Yeah, so financial independence is having enough cash flow from your assets to cover your expenses, which is awesome. But doesn't mean you're financially free, because freedom is like a state of mind. And like being wealthy is the ability to be fulfilled and present and enjoy what you have and enjoy the process along the way. So someone can be rich but not wealthy because they might have a bunch of money, but they're miserable, right? Their health is suffering. They don't have quality relationships. They're overly stressed out and all that kind of stuff. Where someone wealthy might have all those things, but also is fulfilled. And I think there's a lot of people that aren't truly wealthy that have a lot of money. Like to me, someone truly wealthy has their financial house in order. They have purpose. They have a good mindset. They have good health, and they have a good social life. Yeah. And there's some people that have no social life that have a lot of wealth. Right. It's like, so are they truly wealthy? Yeah. That's the question.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. The 10% leak fix, you say people typically lose 10% or more of their income through overpaying taxes, interest, hidden fees, or improper insurance structure, right? Walk us through your financial leak audit process.
So the 4 I's to efficiency: IRS, interest, investments, insurance. So we're just like, we look and go, where's someone overpaying tax? We look at their, we'll have a conversation with them. They don't have to send in their information. We can just ask enough to figure out generally. And then we ask them about the loans that they have. We figure out what their credit score is, how they've structured the loans, if they've negotiated better interest rates, if there's any loans that can be consolidated into other loans, and figure out what that is. And then we look into their investments and like what kind of, like we just see people all the time that have huge fees within their retirement plans, within the assets under management. And they could, if there's a 2% fee, it's 40% less return than 0%. because there's compounded costs to this.
Right.
And then insurance, we just see people insuring inconsequential things rather than catastrophic things. So we just go through and spend like 45 minutes with them on a phone call and just figure out like where could they get their financial house in order that would stop these leaks and put more money in their pocket, and then give a general assessment of what we think that amount of money will be on a report of findings.
Okay.
And then on that, we go, here's the different things you could do, from how you structure your corporations to, you know, how you save on tax, to how you structure your loans, to what you could do with your insurances. So we give them the information. That way, if they want to go do it on their own, they can, but they could hire us if they want to do that as well.
Yeah. Do you find, 99 out of 100 people have it set up wonky? Like it's just not set up right? Or like
I think it's like on tax, it's about when there's years where there's not tax change, it might get down to like 93 out of 100 are overpaying tax. But when there's big tax changes, like when the Tax Jobs and Cut Act or whatever it was came out, like almost nobody was implementing 199A. So we just found people overpaying left and right on that. So it was more like 98 out of 100 didn't have it done right.
And that's because they were their financial advisor or whoever was their accountant or whoever.
Yeah, they outgrew their accountant.
Yeah.
I just talked to someone that our buddy Matt referred to me. They were only overpaying tax. I did the call. Normally I don't do the call, but Matt just made the connection to me, and I did 15 minutes. And in 15 minutes, I found like, I think it was probably like $3 million a year they overpaying. And there's probably more than that. I just sent them off to the tax person because I was like, hey, I don't really usually do this work, but it's just crazy the stuff that their accountant was telling them not to do. And they were paying 100%, like whatever the tax rate was on every dollar with no write-off.
Oh, wow.
So that was like worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's worst case
But
scenario.
most people are missing a ton of stuff.
Yeah. I would imagine.
Tax is the place that we play a lot.
You play a lot in the tax first. Yeah, makes sense. Well, it frees up capital too for other things.
And then we look at those other things: interest, investments, insurance, and that's really the main process.
Nice. Cool. Investment philosophy. Your approach is automate savings, get deliberate investing, and plug financial leaks, right?
Yeah.
This sounds different from typical investment advice. What does deliberate investing mean for someone building like an expert brand online?
People all the time say stuff like, oh yeah, I automatically save into my 401k. I'm like, your 401k is not a savings plan. You're putting money into investments that are going up and down and you know nothing about it. So why don't you automate savings so that you have liquidity? And then deliberate investing is, if someone's like what you're talking about, IP is probably the best investment that they can create for systems, for processes, for marketing, for sales, for customer fulfillment. And especially in the AI world, you can feed that AI with amazing content that makes it so much more effective and efficient. But if someone doesn't have content, good luck. You're going to just sound like a homogenized AI bot at this point, right? So to me, it's either investing in their business through people, process, or procedure, which is like the automation and the tech, or they invest in real estate. I'm not a real estate guy, but some people are, or they invest in IP. Those are the big three. You pick one of those lanes, it becomes your cash flow engine, and then you can have maybe a secondary lane. There's a few people that could pull off all three, but it's because they're great at building teams and infrastructure. Because if someone's trying to do all three on their own, good luck. You're not going to sleep anymore, and you're going to be miserable.
For sure. Now, we talked a little bit about this in Montana, right? And you talked about IP and having your IP separated into a different company.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because that was fascinating about how you structure IP.
So when someone pays for like my cash cabin, automatically 15% off the top goes to my IP company, because my consulting company has to use my IP, which makes it royalty, which means it's less taxed, which means it's, if I sell something, it's now separated. So when I sold Wealth Factory, I kept my IP, or at least the IP I cared about. Which allowed me to just launch a new business and, and grow it the way I wanted to. If I would have sold the IP, like it might have just been collapsed into that entity, not really valued, and it might be the more valuable piece of it.
Did you set that up before you sold the company?
Yeah, I set up in 2012. I set up an IP company because number one, I could write off things I couldn't write off by having a separated IP company and a production company that would have normally been like, no, you can't do that. But now it's an IP company, I can. So just
what type of structure is it? Is it an LLC?
Is it? I'm a 90% owner. My wife's a 10% owner because we did this amortization thing to save on tax, and we needed consideration. So she ended up having a bigger percentage because she definitely advises me on things all the time. So then when I license to financial advisors, they pay my IP company because it's a licensing of my content. Right. So I have different companies. Each company has to pay the piper. They have to pay the IP company something. They're always, so it's got a bunch of different flows that go to it.
Nice. And is the IP company
it's a holding
held
company
by something else?
Yeah, it's my asset protection trust owns it all, but then the IP company owns interest in all my other companies.
Yeah.
So it all flows up through to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worked well.
And does all your education go through the IP company? Or do you have another company where you do your courses and your education?
Yeah, Garrett Gunderson LLC, my first company ever, runs all the courses and education, but then has to pay a percentage to Ripwater. But what's nice is because it's nice that it's now my name when people pay on a credit card.
Right.
Because they don't know my company's name and I'm building my personal brand. So that's why I decided to run it through that.
True. I was always told, and obviously you did it differently, but like never to put your name in a company name. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Like I want to protect certain things and my name's one of them. So I was cool with it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what they might do is have this alter ego argument and say, well, it's not really a company. It's just Garrett. And then they could try to pierce the corporate veil with that.
Got it.
But that company, like, you know, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. Like I haven't had separate company. I haven't any problem with it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Avoiding trust fund babies. This is a fun one.
Yeah.
How do you create generational wealth without creating spoiled trust fund babies? What's the framework for using wealth to empower rather than entitle future generations?
I mean, we gotta create resilient kids and resourceful kids. So my buddy Chris Smith said, hey, I give money to my kids for what they need, but I contribute 50% for what they want. So they're always part of the plan. They always have to earn. They always have to take that consideration. Family retreats are really critical. Having family philosophies, having family dinners, having daily rituals. Like, how do you invest in your heirs so that you leave them with stewardship, not entitlement?
Right.
So, I mean, like our kids had to work. They had to, like, when they were young, I used to make it where they could always bid jobs, but they had to invoice me or I wouldn't pay them. And they could bid too high and I'd say no.
Yeah.
They could bid too low and be like, oh, that was a lot of work for what I just got paid. So they had to learn how the marketplace works.
Nice.
I didn't pay them for chores because that's just part of being in our house. We're not socialists, right? Scott Donnell always says, if you heard his stuff, you know, with the value creation kids. So I was like, yeah, let's teach them those kind of things. And, you know, it's really just giving them more responsibility as time goes on. You know, there's a guy, Rich Christensen, who's built this thing called Legato. It's just brilliant. He's like, has a conversation with a certain, like at 8 o'clock, when they turn 8, then when they turn 10, then when they're 12, they do something super hard, but private victory versus public victory. When they're 14, they start their first business. He's their business coach. So he has an entire process that shows like how you create, you know, good family retreat.
Who's that?
Rich Christensen. The book's Legato or Toast Turned Purple. And he really taught me most of what I do in this realm.
And Chris Smith, he has Family Brand.
Yep.
So
I've just learned from these guys, right? I'm always asking them and gleaning information. And you know,
what's your family brand look like in your in your household?
So what's cool is we actually have a family crest.
Nice.
And it's got these wings on it to talk about uplifting and inspiring and living soul purpose.
Nice.
It's got 4 candles, which is lighting the future, and that our light doesn't dim because we light someone else's. It's got this like it's got a heart with the infinity symbol. So it's about infinite love right there in the center. We've got like a little Italy with a plane going around it, talking about travel and adventure. We've got health and vitality, just people that look strong, that are like these 2 images. We've got a microphone and a guitar talking about learn an instrument and entertain, not just be entertained. So like be active in that role. So we have all of those things that we've put together as a family, and it's on our coolers, it's on our cornhole game. It's
your swag, has some swag.
We don't have the clothes.
Okay.
You know, we don't have the clothes for it, but we have the physical badass like medieval crest above. I just didn't. I don't know. Maybe my kids might wear it. Like at this stage, I'm not sure. It's just I wouldn't wear it.
Yeah. So some of the things I did with my family. So we did a family value. Like I work with Chris, helped him with some things. And I went through the family brand because I thought that was awesome, right?
Yeah.
It's like businesses have values and a brand. Why don't our families, right? And so it's something that we do every day now with the kids is like the family values.
Yep.
My kids are 5, 3, and 1, so it's very early.
That's great that you're starting that early, bro.
Yeah, but they love it. Like we pray, it's like family values is right out immediately after. The kids are like, okay, family values. It's like clockwork every day, every time. And what's cool is they added a couple on to the list themselves, which I thought was awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen I'm now getting to the stage where, okay, let's talk about what these mean. You know, like Let's.
Yeah, we wrote a family mission statement, and I'd ask the kids to read a sentence and what it mean to them. And when they were young, it was just brutal. Like they, and then we had our family guidance. Our family guidance was really simple, like hug and kiss mom to greet and say goodbye.
Nice.
No swearing, and that one didn't work. Like because I'm like my wife's got a filthy mouth. I got one. My youngest swears. My oldest, when he swears, he's so innocent it just seems forced. He like say shit and like look around and he just said, I'm like, bro, it's cool. But we had just like we finish what we start, stuff like that. And I remember playing basketball with my son. I've tried to dive and on the concrete, hurt my elbow, and I was gonna quit. And he's like, we finished what we start. I was like, damn, and those are setting in. So we also had our technology rules, which were really hard to enforce, dude. Super hard to enforce. Like we failed, but at least we tried.
Yeah.
So we probably did 25% better by having them, but there was definitely not 100% thing. So sometimes when people see all of I share my family mission statement, my family crest, my family values, my our family guidance. They're like, dude, like, and then I'm like, let me show you our technology rules, and we'll rate it. Like, it's just progress over perfection. Yeah, it's done is better than perfect. And that it's been helpful.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. Okay, value-based wealth. You believe legacy is defined not just by money, right, but values and contribution. For entrepreneurs building their expertise online, right? How do they embed their values into their wealth building strategy?
Well, like values need to live in your heart, not on a wall. And I think a lot of values sound homogenous. Like if I just grabbed a book of people's values and it was just 1,000 families, it'd all sound pretty much the same. Yeah. So it's like, what do you really value? Like, what does it really mean? And maybe even make them statements, or, like in our family, we value being seen and heard. We value like, know that you're loved is one of them. Like we have these things that really epitomize who we are, and so like even humor is like a big part of it. We have little like humor inside jokes on our family crest, right?
Oh, nice.
So so I think it's like you got to get clear about what you truly value, not just let someone else give you theirs, or not what you think sounds good or what people might like, or it's just like, no, what represents your family? Yeah. And think about it and do the work, and then live that out. Yeah. Create rules, create standards, create boundaries, like have conversations, like all those kind of
play it out, like in real life, play it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just, again, make them real, like what really resonates. So when we first did our family values, we just had this list of a ton of words. My kids are 7 and 9. They got to circle 5 words. I circled 5 words. My wife circled 5 words. And if we had any of the same words circled, then that made a list to talk about. If all 4 of us circled something, obviously it made the list. But if like 2 of 4 or 3 of 4, then that made, and then we talked through it. That was okay to start with, but we eventually got much more clear and clean. Yeah. The kids got older.
It evolved.
Conversation. Right? Yeah. So it evolved through that. And that came from like, we have good conversations when we travel. We have good conversations when we drive to the cabin. We have good conversations when we get in the hot tub. Like we find these ways, like how can we get the kids to share and where it doesn't feel forced. So one time it was awesome because I talked about doing this and we're like, why don't we just broadcast a family meeting? And so we invited our database. We had like, I don't know, we had a lot of people on. Yeah. But my kids don't know. They just look at, there's just a camera. We have like director's chairs. It's in our basement of our house. My wife's talking to a contractor, so she's late to it. My son's busting jokes the whole time. The other one's not paying attention. But I was like, at the end, we got what we needed from the meeting. And I think for most people, like, oh, it doesn't have to be perfect. Right. It's just intentional.
Yeah. That's cool. Probably got a lot of good reception from your audience.
Yeah, but I look at our values. Like my kids are taking 50% of their income and putting it into Bitcoin. Like that's really cool. That's like awesome. That's because we've lived out what we're talking about.
How old are your kids now?
And my son did comedy with me because it was humor's a big part of it. I got a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. The 4 expense types. You teach about 4 types of expenses in mindful cash management, right? What are they and how should people prioritize them?
So there's destructive expenses, eliminate those. Yep. There's lifestyle expenses, pay cash. Maybe like with the exception of financing a car or a home, but everything else just pay cash. Don't borrow to consume. Protective expenses, you address them. Liquidity, asset protection, risk transfer through insurance, education. Like a lot of people neglect that third category of protective expenses, and it bites them in the ass because we're on store for financial surprises and we can actually address them. And the 4th one is the productive expense. Increase it. Keep putting more until it's not productive anymore. It's that simple. And if we just differentiate those expenses, whether it's every week or every other week, then we can say, what do we need to increase, decrease, and or just maintain? And it doesn't require budgeting. You just pay yourself first, live off the rest. If you don't go outside the bounds, you just classify your income. That's mindful cash management.
Yeah.
Way better than being like, here's my envelope for entertainment. Here's my envelope for, I don't know. I sound like
The
Bill
jars.
Clinton or like Dave Ramsey or something like, sorry to the South. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, the jars, all that kind of stuff. Like, great. If you're a kid, fine. But if you're an adult, let's get real. Like, don't have a budget for productive expenses. Too many people don't invest enough in themselves because they're being so budget minded that they're building their balance sheet, but that's actually not building themselves.
What are your, right now, today, like what are your top 3 most productive expenses?
So my team is the most productive expense. Like, like just what I'm investing in them is coming back in such a big way. I'm investing so heavily in media to figure out this media game. And I just feel like that's going to have such a huge payoff. Yeah. And I've really been investing in just like my mindset, because I went through a lot in 2023 with my health and with unwinding some stuff. So I've just been really investing in, like, every week I'm talking to someone that helps me advance my, my mindset, helps me heal from my past, helps me to, process my emotions. And so I feel like that's been really, really effective, whether it's somatic therapy, whether it's just one-on-one counseling or whatever it might be, like just getting through that.
Yeah. Now you're a thought leader, creator, producer.
Yep.
What would you say how much time do you spend as producing and creating content, distributing content? Like, how obviously your team does the distribution.
Yeah, I'm probably like a
what's
third of my week is working on content, like as far as writing, whether it's like a blog or whether it's like revising outlines, because I'm now doing scripted Instagram, which before I wasn't. We start June 9th. So say you're launching something June 9th, I'm launching something June 9th. And so I've been investing in like what our frames are going to be for the videos, and, building the team for editing and all that kind of stuff. So, a third of my time is that. A third of my time is usually is teaching. So that could even be like recording the content, or that could be like, in my multiplier community where I'm teaching every week, or like yesterday I did 3 webinars. So I'm doing webinars and stuff like that. Okay. And then on Mondays, I'm really just investing in my team, like setting everything up. What are we up to? What do we want to do? And then, there's some relationship building and stages and stuff that are happening for the other time.
You spend 2/3 of your time really in creation.
Totally. Yeah.
People always ask me that. They're like, how much time do I really need to dedicate?
A lot.
Well,
yeah. Like if you're going to be a pro, like this is my 3rd podcast today, and it's only noon. Right. And like I'm on stage at least on some stage like twice a month. I'm on webinars multiple times a week. Yeah. I'm on other people's podcasts every single week. Yeah. I'm sitting down to write every single week. I'll have a flight tomorrow. I'm going to write for several hours while I'm on that flight. And prepare, like think through my brand and the retreats that I'm about to do. So I have a retreat tomorrow, a retreat the next day, and a retreat the next day. The 3rd day is an AI retreat, bringing my kids to it with the guys on my team that are good at AI to help, improve their skill sets. But like be passionate and obsessive about things. Like I got obsessed about when I write a book, I write like 3 to 5 hours every single day, but maybe Sunday. I just get up early, like 5. I write until I like can't write anymore, and then I go about my day. Yeah, like that's just what it takes. Yeah,
Sure. Now, for you, do you do a lot of your writing? Obviously, do you also use like a ghostwriter or a cleanup person to like?
So I've got Stephen Palmer, who's my main editor. So he wrote Killing Sacred Cows with me. So he's on the team, and he looks over everything. I'm now like, when I hand it to him, it's 95% done. Back in the day, I was probably like an 80% guy. Okay. I've just improved the skills, and then. An article I wrote yesterday, I used my Garrett Gunderson content creator in ChatGPT, and I wrote a lot about this personal story, and then I wrote a lot of I had it do a lot of filling in the gaps for the beginning and the end, and it turned out really good. But I still sit there and rewrite and massage and work through. But it's like I don't have to spend a lot of time on sentence structure by using that as an editor.
So you're supplementing AI now. Yeah. After you build the AI brain, the knowledge base.
Because we've got just so many books in there, so many transcripts in there, so many, like there's a lot in there. So it's pretty effective.
It helps a lot. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely speeds a lot.
I was talking to Joey, and he's talking about all the things you built.
Yeah, it speeds up the process by a factor of like 10 times faster. Yeah. I can't imagine like how we did it before.
I wrote a style guide in a flight from Salt Lake to New York. that took me months in the old
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. I know.
It's nuts.
AI is changing the game. Okay, the Legacy Builder Challenge for someone who is watching this who wants to break the generational cycle of financial struggle like you did. What's the one thing they should do in the next 30 days to start building their financial legacy?
They should read What Would the Rockefellers Do. I know it's like a plug, but dude, that book it makes legacy available. It makes it accessible. It's very concrete. It's very like clear. It's not a hard read. Like that's the best thing that they could do because they could really make a difference in 30 days.
Cool. So read What Would the
I'll
Rockefellers
just look them up. DM me Legacy Builders.
Legacy Builders.
Yeah. Not Legacy Builders Toolkit, just Legacy
That's right.
Builders.
That's right.
But Legacy Builders, and we'll just hook them up with an audiobook for free.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'd like to ask this. Two last questions.
Yeah.
One is what's working for you really well that's absolutely crushing it in your business, like helping you take it to the next level?
Our discovery into report of findings, which and Antonio and Landon that are in the room over here, they really like inspired it because they had built something and it was like, damn, I used to do stuff like that. So they were really generous in helping, even though I was consulting them. And that is just absolutely a machine right now. We are doing really well at generating leads, too well on the insurance side. So we're now going to have to build an agency to fulfill on it. So
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so that's that. So that's that. So the toolkit as a front end, is that a free toolkit, paid toolkit?
So on the let's see which thing we're talking about on the legacy side. When people get What Would the Rockefellers Do, the toolkit's free.
Got it.
Yeah, and it's like family constitution. It's like family office ideas. It's family retreat ideas. So they have that workbook.
Got it. What's that funnel look like?
So when someone gets What Would the Rockefellers Do?
Yeah.
41 pages in, it says, "Hey, would you like to implement what you're reading about?" And they can scan a QR code. It takes them in. They answer 8 questions, and then we match them up to someone that's qualified to support them.
Got it.
So like we stopped running traffic on it because we were getting about Meta made some changes about a month ago on us, and they started deeming us as like financial services, and so we couldn't target quite as well. But we're also like in the middle of like making a transition. But we were like running 100% return on ad spend on that.
Yeah.
So in 7 months ago, we put in 15 grand, and we've created 4,500 leads off of that because it was self-liquidating through most of it.
Wow.
That's because Matt Silverstein, who's my partner in it, is just brilliant. He's sold hundreds of thousands.
Now you have to pivot because of the Facebook situation.
Yeah, I think that we'll be able to. I think we'll be fine. We'll navigate it. He's spent a lot of time on the phone, but right now he just launched X1 Wealth Labs, which is an AI tool for everybody. It's a full dashboard for everything finance, so they can analyze their taxes, they can analyze their estate plan, they can get their economic independence number, they can do all that.
Oh, that's a game changer.
And yeah, he built it, so he was focused on that anyway. And we just launched that last week, and now everybody in my community gets it, which I'm super stoked about. And, it's so valuable. Yeah.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
AI. How are you like? What are all the ways that you're using it outside? Obviously, we just talked about the book, but like
we're starting to use GenSpark to like figure out a lot about the people we're meeting with, so that my team can understand the individual that they're serving. We're starting to use like automated transcripts so that it would move into a report of findings, because right now it takes my guy 2 hours to do a report of findings off of a discovery session. So we're building out we haven't been able to create it effective enough yet, but my team's getting together this week to work on that.
Nice.
Claude has been a game changer, because when someone licenses my content, we don't even have to talk to them. They can just answer the questions, goes through Claude, spits out a forward, and people are loving the forward. So what used to take us 2 hours takes us 10 minutes of our time.
For sure.
And so that's super cool. My Ask Garrett Anything is pretty sweet. Garrett Gunderson, content creator inside of ChatGPT. And then I've just been investing in like Matt, my CMO. He just knows, like, he's been using Descript to put together, using my voice and creating stuff without me. We're using AI to help us with thumbnails and titles and you know, like pulling out key moments. Like we're so integrated at this point, and we're just going to get better. We're just going to be doing way more.
Yeah. I mean, it's just getting started, really.
It's exciting.
It is a very exciting.
I'm excited
time.
about it.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, man. Where can people follow you, find you?
Yeah, Garrett B. Gunderson on Instagram, Garrett.live in an internet browser. Takes in my YouTube. GarrettGunderson.com is my website.
Awesome.
I've written a couple books.
Cool. And then DM you to get.
DM me. Just put Legacy Builders, and we'll hook them up.
All right, let's go. Go do it. Cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. Good times.